This is Notes on the State, a podcast about Thomas Jefferson.
We stand at a university that reveres its founder and reveres Jefferson for many reasons that are inspirational. But we stand in a place whose founding was also founded in violence. Founded in the violence of slavery, the violence of the exclusion of women, exclusion of any person who wasn't a property owner. We have a particular obligation to those histories. They're not the only ones, but we have to reckon with our past.
Everyone has come up with an idea of the American founding. And for a lot of people, the founding is predominantly male and white. But America would have never become the world power that it is without the institution of slavery. And that is not to glorify slavery, but it's to acknowledge that it is the economic base of early America. And we can't tell a story about a president, about someone who served in political power and represented this country without talking about the institution of slavery.
One of the things that Jefferson was really concerned about was the spread of the ideas of the Haitian Revolution. And this is a very important phenomenon. I mean, you can sense it, you read it, it's there. You know, there is a very famous Haitian anthropologist by the name of Rolf Trouillot who said that Haiti was not thinkable. That is wrong. That is simply wrong. Haiti was so thinkable. That's why they were so terrified about Haiti.
So it's not exactly the same as it was in the late 18th century, but we have, again, the legacy of this strain of thought, which is to say that there is an entity among us, if it's the capital U, who is, when their labor is no longer needed, as Jefferson says, needs to be removed beyond the reach of mixture. Now, the colonization schemes didn't work, but we have an internal colonization scheme that is called the prison industrial complex.
Someone asked me at the exhibition about that blue glass that leans against the wall and against this low wall, and they weren't quite understanding the reading as a abstracted U.S. flag, and what they said was, their reading of it was, it looks like you've got this fragile piece of glass that's what's holding up the wall, but glass can't hold up brick, you know, and yet it's the glass that reflects the people back in the work. And it is true that we are the ones who are here to challenge those words, to uphold them, the parts that should be upheld and the parts that need to be challenged. It's our responsibility. In fact, that's the way that this nation was built, is that the people are to push back at the government when the government gets off kilter.
It's so interesting to me the way that people who are critical of movements like Black Lives Matter, for example, want to claim somehow an inherent passivity and resignation to America. I mean, if you peel back the thinnest layer of American history, you get a revolution. How do they think that happened? That did not happen because people politely wrote to the king and said, hey, you know, if you don't mind, we'd like to get our freedom right now. That didn't happen. Instead, they rose up.
So we need to think about the fact that we are still really from these legacies of Jefferson. In our world today, we may not hear people use the kind of language he's using, but then it's filtered everywhere. It's in every policy that we make. He's the founder of our institution. For example, look at this. When a school like UVA talks about diversity and inclusion, one, you are saying that, oh, well, we've now realized that you guys are human, so you can join us. But then again, the very language of inclusion somehow privileges whiteness as exclusive, right? And it's as if you have to actually walk on shards of glass to beg white people to become human, to beg white people to join the community. But then that shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't use the language of inclusion because we are already here. We already belong.
Notes on the state.
Yes.
ADthegreat.com.
I'm just saying, you know, maybe your heroes and my heroes are different people. They said equal while they was owning people. From any spot you see hypocrisy like this is see-through. They wanted you to be cool, but not the same for me too. For them to be the ones, then there had to be some people to be
The thing that should be first and foremost is talking about his faults. Because right now the pendulum has swung a little bit too far in that he was good direction. The part of the conversation that's lacking is all those faults, especially slavery and Sally Hemings.
I think UVA overlooks a lot of the negative sides of Thomas Jefferson's legacy, which is understandable because he made the university, but at this current moment in this revolutionary time period, I think it's unacceptable.
The Founding Fathers and that sort of basis of the U.S. is deeply hypocritical, I think, and elitist and not representative of the real truth of the matter at the time, nor the truth of the matter today. So I think of a lot of the United States' illustrious history is really just sugarcoating actual facts.
I didn't know anything about Black history at UVA until probably a year after I got here. I was a transfer. I took guided tours. I did everything. I read pamphlets. I came to orientation. Not once was it mentioned that our ancestors built these walls. And that should have been one of the first things that was mentioned.
If you had an opportunity to sit down and talk with Thomas Jefferson today, what would be your main thing that you would want to express to him or ask him?
I don't know. I constantly learn new things about Thomas Jefferson, as sick of him as I am now, just because people are always talking about him, we're always doing research on him. I find out such interesting things. Thomas Jefferson loved food. When he went to Europe, when he went to France, he learned all of these delicious culinary dishes, and he had a slave who was there with him, and he made him learn how to cook all of these dishes to bring to America. He introduced mac and cheese to the U.S. Imagine not having that here. Maybe asking him what his favorite food was, or but I would really regret not asking him a more philosophical, ethical question, how did you rationalize owning so many people and writing those words. Yeah, there are a lot, but I'm sure that the conversation would be interesting. But also, I think Thomas Jefferson was a pretty awkward dude. I don't think he would want to be talking very long with someone. He didn't like public speaking at all. He was kind of weird, so maybe he wouldn't want to answer my questions.